I think I'm live now. Good evening. Welcome to Makgarebe Mahikeng. My name is Dr. Faith. Today, a new feature that's called Makgarebe History. Now a bit about Makgarebe History. So what we have seen, everybody knows that when it's Wednesday, Bona Hausa Cheki Story Makgarebe, you're going to miss out. So what we did is, with every story, there was always there's a process that happens. So between the actual interviews, just listening to the story and then also getting to just refining and telling stories samotomo. So it's a story that is filtered, but then when we looked at, remember we said that with the new phase 2 or the second phase of where we want to go with Makgarebe Amahikeng, we decided that we should do things a bit different. Let's bring the Lekgarebe on board. Let's get Lekgarebe to tell and share the story herself. So today we have a remarkable Lekgarebe. When I heard her story, I was blown away and I thought, oh my word, how do we do justice to this amazing human being? I'm going to read her bio, which we published earlier on. Tonight we're speaking to, I want to see, I'll check whether already. Tonight we're speaking to Lesego Serolong. Lesego Serolong is the CEO and founder of Bokamoso Impact Investment. She's a lady who's doing amazing things. Lesego is the co-founder and chairman of Raise the Children International, a registered NPO in South Africa, USA, and UK. She's a former volunteer teacher from Mahikeng. Lesego was inspired to believe in education-based and entrepreneurship solutions to poverty. She will tell a story. She has been absolutely fantastic. She's a Tutu fellow. I was teasing her earlier. Fellow yes a name. So she is a Tutu fellow. And in 2018, we're talking to the winner of the Standard Bank Top Women Award. She is. This was alongside. It says go live with her. Just a second. Alongside legendary musician Mama Yvonne Chaka Chaka. Her accolades include presidential recognition. Lesego, wow. As a young achiever and a trailblazer, she's 27 Mail and Guardian 200 Young South African Leaders. She also made the 2017, she received an honorary Golden Key Award by the University of Pretoria. So we're bringing her on so that she can share the story. Let me see my technology there. Let's see. Okay, great. Lesego? No. He asked me if I should bring her. Let's see. Okay. I've got a technical person who needs to help me here. And wait. It says she's invited. Oh, there, I think. Aha, great. Yay, Lesego, you got it. Add. Awesome. I'm so excited. She will be with us any minute now. Are you there? Approve. Adding. Lesego. Okay. I see Pinky. Lesego, we are there again. Add. Connecting.
Oh, hi.
Magic! Yay! Hi.
Yay! Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You know, kane ra bona la ra tsofala yaanong if tech it's, playing tricks with us.
I think the beauty of this season is that we're going to learn, we're going to be uncomfortable and learn new things. So,
Mhm.
and we should be okay with that. Whether we start obedza or hey, we'll get used to it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Lesego, thank you so much for making the time. Thank you for helping us launch the Makgarebe Story feature. Such a pleasure to have you this evening. Thank you for making the time. Ke kopa o simolola o
Mm.
mpolelle gore o se o montle wa dibrele tse di red. You should have briefed me. Ke rote dibrele ke re
Bon.
ke fokotse age. So tell me, Lesego ke
Good.
mang o tswa kae?
Yeah, so Lesego ke ngwana ga abuti Staffrose. My dad actually used to play these radio stories tsa kgale. So his character mo stories tsa kgale ne bitswa Motlotleegi Chesa. So a lot of people even now ko Botaung or even around Mafikeng would tell you, hey, o ngwana ga ntate Motlotleegi Chesa wa reng, whatever. And then mama ka ke Usmekdelini, Serolong. Both of them, they hail from Taung. And then, yeah, I was raised ko Mafikeng. So Mafikeng, go Unit 80, go Tutla Street. Before that, King 4-way cross, yeah, Sunset. So yeah, that's as much as I can
Ko Sunset.
describe it.
4-way cross ele
Yeah,
ya hao ya Sunset ko 15. Ko 15 ne?
exactly. But Ronaka mo sa Unit 8.
Oh, awesome, man. So tell me gore so I'm still stuck on Motlotleegi Cheese. I ke sure gore re bua ka Motlotleegi Cheese. I know that name. I know that name from radio. I mean, how would we not know that?
Yeah, my dad used to write Setswana stories and was being a voice actor more radio bopo nako tsele tsa kgale. So both of my parents were creatives. Unfortunately, they passed away. My mom was a photographer. She was a seamstress as well. And then my dad really loved, radio and acting.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's great. Tell me about your childhood. So, let's go Unit 80. Which schools did you go to?
Yeah, so to go Unit 80, and my childhood go Unit 80, it's so special in that sometimes I look at my kids. I have three boys, and I just wish they had the type of childhood that I had, where there was no tech. Ne re tshameka from Phakela, ha dikolo di tswetswe, re tshameka diketo, kgati, skipping the rollerblade. I remember we were like part of the first crew in our street to have the rollerblade. So every child had to get the rollerblade. It would go around like Unit 80. So it was very vibrant and fun, and kids were very active. And then behind our street, we used to have like Mzwinki, like a park. So we would go there and host like competition. So to be honest, I really had a lovely childhood, and I'm so grateful for that. And ke tsene grade 1 go get a crash go like the learning center. So that's where I started. And then mama ka le papa ka ba nkisa ko Modiredi Primary School until I think grade 3 or grade 4. And then grade 3, grade 4, I then went to Salt Blackie up until grade 7.
Until grade 7. And then what happened? So, tell me about the activities that you do go so like what were you good at?
You know, first of all, migrating from Mudired, where everything was like chilled, and going to Salt Blackie, I just felt some kind of a pressure because it was I guess a different environment, a little bit elite. in its own unique way. So I don't think I was ready for that, because I just felt like a small fish, you know, in a big pool. And I remember, I mean, my parents were not, you know, like well off or anything. So I remember to me mamaka na file mamaka gym dress so ya uniform ya sort of like for me to wear while they were putting money together, you know, for me to get like the new uniform ya sort of like. So I remember like my first day, I think it's only like the second or third week after school had already like started. So I'm like, first of all, going to campus as like I'm like taken back, right? Because different from Mudiredi, Banaba Buas Hoa all the time, break, you know, like yeah, son or anything. So I loved Salt Blakey. I actually did a bit of music, Salt Blakey. I also used to do piano, Salt Blakey, and I remember, talk about the story of courage. One of the things that I did was to enroll in a music competition. I think it's Guy Stedford. And I remember I was like so scared. And my music teacher was like, you know what, you'll make it, you'll make it. So I sang Amazing Gracie at that Stedford's. And then I also sang it Go Assembly. So I remember, because I was so scared, Go Assembly, like I remember Lintulaka Lili, like I was literally going off tune, Banabateja. But I remember like I stood there and I finished the song, whether ke mopedi or I ke mopedi. But for me, that was like the story of yeah. So like it was a nice school, but it was a little bit lonely because I like part of me.
And tell me, so now you sing, that's such a powerful story. Now you sing kwa assembly. What does young Lesego dream about? O batla go nnang? What do you want to become? How hola now?
Yeah, I remember reading about you know, I'm like, yo. Yeah, I remember growing up. I used to read about different professions. I was interested in medicine, like the medical field. And somehow I came across this article and they were talking about like dermatologists. And I remember like, I was like, I don't think I've ever come across a single dermatologist. So I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to be a dermatologist when I grow up, because I've never seen any of them like, or being exposed to one for that matter. So that's who I wanted to be growing up. And obviously that has changed. I went the opposite direction.
I want to hear about how you got to that opposite direction. So this is grade 7, because of like you opeti. Bridge me from standard 7 into now tertiary. What happens in that journey?
Yeah, so from I think by that time, Salt Lake felt like us, and it's grade 7. So going into grade 8, I Salt Lake didn't have grade 8 then. So I then went to Taggart.
Lesego, let me ask my tech person to help me get Lesego. For Lesego, please drop them so that we can ask the question. Just a second. Hey Lesego, I lost you. Can you try getting back on the call? Thank you for those that have just joined. We're talking, this is the launch ya Makgarebe story. Makgarebe story. It's now, I get it every Wednesday, we're used to people reading the stories of Makgarebe. Now we are here and saying, what is the story behind? So we're trying to have, Tabiso, we see you. Just a second. Let's see if we have technology. I'm confident. Just a second. a sec. Okay. Lesego. There was a question that we received from Lorato Mkhasa. Okay, let's see. There's Lesego at ke kopa re rapele bathong. Yay,
Hi,
she's
I'm
back.
sorry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Are you
Yeah, I'm fine.
You were still telling us Kada, from
Oh,
grade
yeah.
7 to tertiary. So how did you spoke about your journey change? Tell us about that direction.
Yeah, so I then went to the third school for high school, go Tagatlufu. Tagatlufu is just outside of Freiburg.
Yeah.
And it's a high school. And so
Okay.
Tagatlufu was great in that, growing up, my grandmother also was an alumni of Tagatlufu way back then, Libo Mama Ruth Mompati. So the school shut down in the 1960s. And so when it reopened in 97, it's always been a conversation in my family for me to sort of continue the legacy, the family legacy. So I then started Kutega Tlufu when I was in grade 8.
Mm-hmm. And then when you're Kotaiga Kloof, what happens and how do you, so Kotaiga Kloof, how do you then get to tertiary? I want to now link and jump to how do you get into the space and
yeah.
Oh my gosh, Busi Siles was on the call.
Yeah. So from grade 8 Kutega Tlufu, what I love about Tega Tlufu, it's the the focus on the academic, but also like the social, right? Taking care of our communities and those around. We used to have a lot of like outreach programs through Rotary Club, the youth arm of Rotary International. And they're also part of an international association of private schools globally called RASWE. So we actually, like, I got to participate in a lot of like outreach program. And I think with Tega Tlufu, especially for grade 8, grade 9, that's when I realized that a lot of people were like struggling sometimes because our worlds are so closed, because we live so like we live around us, and we don't see the need outside. So that's when I realized through these outreach programs that there's a need. So when I was in grade 10, I got an opportunity to go on an exchange program to St. Stephen's School, which is in Cape Town. It's a girls' school. And I think going to St. Stephen's, a Mafeking girl, like, it really opened my eyes to realize just the levels of educations, right, out there, and also what education can do for you. So go St. Cyprian, I came across girls from like everywhere in the world, from different parts of Africa, east, west. And so so through that, my horizons, broadened a little bit. And so, and then from there, I then got an opportunity through Tegadroof again to go on an international conference, go US. And so I remember day one, we went to the partner school as well, go New York, and I was hosted by an African-American family. So all the other 3 girls that I had traveled with from Tegadrufu, they were staying with, well-off families from Wall Street, and so I was the only one staying with this African-American family. But this African-American family, the Williams, are the very reason why I ended up going back to America and attending school, because they just felt like, they really want to support the vision I have for South Africa. And, unlike a lot of people, unlike a lot of Africans that get an opportunity to study abroad, they really wanted me to come back empowered to really drive change in my country. So that's how I ended up, making that US link for university. But I would say, importantly, Kutega Tlufu, I had a lot of like positive mentors around me, like women, that really spoke life into me. And you can imagine it was hard when you're in high school. It's hard to see yourself like beyond the borders of South Africa. But when you have people in your life that really believe in you and really believe in your vision, it makes a difference. So I remember I had started like an after school program teaching bana baba mo dipolaseng, because Tagaklufu it's like in the middle of nowhere. So when I dipolasi like around, we're doing like basic literacy, like numeracy. And also I discovered, you know, there's a huge gap, you know, in our education system. You know, a lot of our farm children are left behind. So I felt like it fell on me to really do something about it, and not just take it as like a volunteering experience. So what I did was, before going to the US and finishing high school, I decided to take a year off, you know, after matric, and then I worked in Cape Town for a little bit, to save up enough money so that I could do volunteering work. So I saved up enough, and then the next year I taught at a school called Ariakhaneng. It's in the outskirts of Mafikeng. It's a primary school, and I was a grade 1 teacher there. And I would say that my experience teaching Ko Ariakhaneng really laid a foundation for the work that I'm doing now, because, you know, you realize just how complex our education system is. You know, it's not the teachers are a problem or the students are a problem, you know, it's so complex. And even us as citizens of South Africa, we can't just sit there, you know, Department of Education has to do something. It actually, it's on us, because those kids are our community. Those are our future leaders. So honestly, I wasn't getting paid. I had like 60 kids, you know, I was like thrown in a grade 1 class. So some of my students, from Site Ele, you know, Esif Mushawing, I think that's the name of the village, all the way up to the school, which is like more than 5. And you realize also, like, as privileged, and there's so much that we can do with what God has given us. And now personally, I felt so grateful for mentored me, that had walked with me, because during my time with Tagaklufu, I lost both of my parents. And, you know, for me, it was a sad time, but at the same time, I was blown away by the generosity of like ordinary people that I was not even related to. Like, I never lacked anything, like, you know. So I knew that, you know, I didn't have to pay, but to go back. Promise was that you need to pay it forward as well. Yeah, so I did that teaching you know, program, and then I moved to the US. I then studied my undergraduate in New York.
Emanyana, so you are saying Ololoko Moshaweng where New York? Hey, Lesego.
Yes.
You understand the power of what you're telling us, because I want us to focus on that, to say, we are in a position where you are overwhelmed, but you don't know that you are on the verge of a very big break and on the verge of your life changing. You know, that's powerful. And I want to use this moment just to say, for those that are joining us on this call, we have Lesego Serolong. She's the CEO and founder of Bokamoso Impact Investments. If you have questions for this amazing Makgarebe, yes, Mosha went to New York. This is what we're about tonight. That's amazing. So can you then take us through that, your period now? We are New York, I like that. From Shawing to the world. I love
but
that.
you know what?
Love that, Lesego.
You know, there's just so much power in Moshawing, because like I said, it really formed you know, the foundation for the work that I'm doing and the person that I'm doing, like every decision, right? Because it's so easy to go to New York and focus on certain things, but not even from day one, I was determined to actually equip myself in certain areas to come back and, you know, and give and give back and build my country. So yeah, so I go to New York. I do my BA in international studies and business, because one of the things that I've always been passionate about, or one of the things that I first of all disliked, it's the image of Africa that you get outside, right? That we have this like hand always begging, you know, Africa needs the West to be saved. Like, honestly, like I disagree. I mean, we ourselves know what we need, and we know the solutions to our problem. So instead of just being so annoyed all the time. One way of actually solving the problem, it's actually investing in education, as well as using business as a catalyst for sustainable impact. So while I was going to New York, or when I was finishing my degree, I then started an NGO called Raise the Children International.
Which university was it?
Oh, City University
if
of
I
New
can
York.
ask, where did you study in New York?
City University of New York.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so while I was at City,
Okay.
I then started an NGO called Raise the Children International alongside with my husband. So Raise the Children International focuses on identifying orphans from deep remote experience, and we provide them with scholarships, and we place them in high performing schools. We also pair them up with like mentors from all the different fields professionally, and we also bring in university graduates to spend a year at the schools where we
exposure to everything, because Lesego how exposed to a family that ended up bamuthusa gore a ye New York. So exposure is everything, and we should use these platforms to make sure that we get impact the let's see, add, let's see, like
guys, I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
I'm sorry, I'm back.
That's fine. That's fine. Life happens. I seen Tombi, Nhlapo, and D like her socks. Oh, my amazing friend. Okay, so
Hi D.
Before you got cut off, I asked that you share with us the successes that Raise the Children. Tell us about the children that you've helped coming from rural areas that you've taken to school. That's what Raise the Children does, right?
Right. So, it's been such an interesting journey, because, I personally see it as a return, of investment, in terms of like empowering a child they would have no chance of accessing opportunities, and providing a platform for them to like grow and thrive academically, socially, mentally, spiritually as well. And so we take Banababarona from grade 8D, and we have a majority of our kids are from the Northwest deliberately. Obviously, I'm from the Northwest. But I just felt also, we focus on like the big cities, like Bomafike. But then as you go out, there are kids in the outskirts, even in areas where the areas that you would not even find on like Google Maps and stuff. So Barona, they come from Botaung, Bo Vryburg, Morokweng, Dry Hatsi, Bo Makgogong, Bo Myra, Vryburg, like all
Wow.
Bo Tlhakgameng. So Rabatsa from grade 8, we work with heads of school to identify orphan, and then we go out there and interview them. So when we interview Banabao, 3 big questions, like out of the 3 million plus orphans in South Africa, why should we pick you? And we don't pick you because you're a teacher's pet or a botlhale. Vision, like somewhere, and they also recognize there's a need, in their community, and there are ways that they want to contribute, whether it's like a social club or whatever. So far we've had more than 100 kids go through our program. We currently have about 46 in high school. So like I said, some of them are Kutega Klufu. They're in boarding schools. go Tagatlufu and go Cornerstone, go Mo Pretoria. And we also recruit university graduates from abroad and also like locally. So a lot of our graduates have been coming from Rhodes University, and they spend a year and they help Barona with transition, because as you can imagine, you know, from coming from rural area and placing a child go like a school in Pretoria or go Tagatlufu, it's a huge transition in of itself, right? So yeah, so we also arrange like book counseling and stuff like that. And like I said, we don't only focus more on the academic, we sort of like have this holistic approach to like, you know, development, yeah, that child. And so yeah, and so we have about I think it's like 48 Balong, they are in tertiary now. They started with us from grade 8, Babambako University of Pretoria, Takis, Babambako Vetse, Babambako Rhodes University, Bo Mafikeng, Bo Poch, literally like everywhere. And for me, it's been amazing journey to see Bana Balong, you know, most of the time, that guy KPMG, he's like an analyst. He's an investor. He's a lawyer, or you know, she's doing this, she's doing that. And for me, that's the type of impact and return on investment that I wanted to see, particularly in educating, you know, the kids from remote rural areas. Yeah, so that's my story. RTC,
That's
we
amazing.
recruit every year, more from Northwest. So whenever we recruit, you know, you can go to our Facebook or website, www.raisethechildren.org, and read a little bit more about the stories, and also know when we are recruiting, because we're always in the lookout for those kids who deserve opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have.
You know, Lesego, hey, I'm tempted to go into the Raise the Children story, but what people don't know is that we have to now change gears. This lady, yay, and talk about how do we do this in the shortest time? Talk about Bokamoso Impact Investment, which is now the side year agriculture, where you take, should I tell the story, or do you Bokamoso Impact? In fact, maybe let me also use this opportunity
No, you can,
to read
you
some
can, you
of
can
the,
share, I'll add.
Okay, no, let me read some of the comments that are coming through. Keketso Spices, so inspired by you. I didn't fully know your story. Thank you for the elaboration. You are so admirable. Let's take up space, pay it forward. Super proud and happy for you. And then she asked the question, if she had to start a food production factory, what are the things you advise her to do? And Kunali, somebody who said, I think Queen Maimane Ramotsewa, who said, you go girl, all the way. And then the channel says, this is amazing, encouraging and great. Stories keep us going and motivated with all that is happening around us. Keep shining. And Liston says, love you and miss you. Can you tell us about the side, yeah, Bokamoso? There's something that I saw where you take Buntat. I mean, that's you take Montate from the community so that Basakauhana lead their families, and now you employ them for this big thing that you have. Can you tell us about that, the sort of clients that you've been able to work with through Bokamoso Impact Investment?
Yeah, so on the agricultural part, I mean, one of the sins that apartheid, right, was to remove families apart. So Buntate usually would like leave by the mining, either ko Rustenburg or a go Gauteng, you know, and the impact, you know, still affects us today, you know, whereby community Buntate have a thing. And so one of the ways to
Marwaisi technology jealous. Can't do I? So in any case, those that have just joined tonight, this is the launch here, Makgarebe story. Makgarebe story is us saying, Lesego Serolong. She grew up Kotaung and then Halimunyani, she moved to Mafikeng. She is now co-founder and chairman of Raise the Children International. She's just told us about the work that she does through this organization, which is a registered NPO in South Africa, USA, and UK. She told us a story of how she used to volunteer Komushaweng and Gaufile Mafikeng, and she was inspired through her experience of seeing Banavaba Klokandi opportunities. She was inspired to come up with education-based and entrepreneurship solutions to poverty. She is a Tutu fellow, and in 2018, Lesego won award, Standard Bank Top Women Awards alongside the legendary musician Mama Yvonne Chaka Chaka. She has been awarded a presidential award. This is a girl from Gomushaweng. Come on now, right? Presidential recognition as a young achiever and a trailblazer, and that's why we have her on Makgarebe, so that we're saying, look, Lorna, we want to extend our network and have people like Lesego come and inspire us. She made the 2017 list of Mail and Guardian. It's such a big list. Yeah, the top 200 young leaders. Lesego was there at 2017. And in 2017, University of Pretoria awarded her an award, gave an award, yeah, Golden Key Honorary Award. I'm going to try to get Lesego gape. To me, ga bona mong ke go bona Richard Selebogo, Keketso. I see you, Tabiso, I see you. Let me try to get Lesego on board. She's here again. And I said, Baba, about technology, but I get 2020, re tlo ithuta by fire by force, re tlo go rutega, la re ka reng. Connecting, I think she's coming back. Yes, thank you so much.
I'm back.
You, Bona, until stories how just shift gears so that we can get to the agricultural part. You were talking about how through your organization, you take buntate so that they should not move away from their families. You know, and through your organization, you employ. Tell us about that side.
Yeah, so not just bontate fela, le batho ba bomme, young people, because the reality is, if you look at rural areas, I got it's Women's Month, so I'm here to empower women.
But I think I was moved to when you said bontate, because usually that's how society, the families because Re will have to move out of town or mining. So that's why I think it stuck with me to say bontate. But you're right, I saw that you also employ women. So please tell me about that.
Yeah. So I think, you know, the way that I looked at it, you know, I looked at ways in which we could actually target, you know, or tackle some of these economic issues in our communities. I mean, are not even productive, right? So how do we make Magai industrial? How do we create jobs? So you create jobs through, you know, high intensive, you know, economic opportunities. So that's why, Rona, when we started Bokamoso, we just thought, you know what, but then how do we make them commercial? But then before I do that commercially, like you need to go back and start with like teaching them how to farm. So what we did, so we invested in an incubator, where, you know, we designed a 6 months intensive training program that focused on primary agriculture, also focuses on entrepreneurship. We partnered with UNISA, where UNISA brought in, you know, content, entrepreneurship, because even in business, you can't just assume because somebody that person knows how to manage books, accounting, and all of that. So it was almost like, you know, a business in a box, like 101. And then, you know, after that incubation, then, you know, because it's communal land, we then had to, you know, ask those that actually make it through our incubator, they actually get allocated land, and then they farm, you know, Bokamoso. So if balema spinach, if you know, we all grow collectively and sell collectively and look for markets. And also, the reality, some of these markets have been occupied, you know, by certain people or certain, you know, whatever companies, so things don't just happen, and so in order for us to occupy these places, like Keke was saying, like it's time for us to occupy, we need to be really deliberate about banging doors, opening opportunities for our people, and making sure that they also meet the standards it's a lot of Woolworths would want, because it's not like people are not capable, right? We do have our capabilities, but then we need to start from training, empowering, and also making sure that we create channels where our people can actually trade and grow. So that's where we got started. Bokamoso. So some of the things that we do as well, honey.
Yes.
We have beehives in different parts of the country, and we want to increase our the number of hives that we manufacture ourselves. Go Northwest. We want to increase the numbers all over the country. So one of the program that we have, Kahan, is that for every hive that's purchased, we sign an offtake agreement to buy that honey from the individual. And obviously South Africa in a shortage of honey that's produced locally. So a lot of the honey that we get, it's honey that's imported from like China, majority of it. So I don't understand why we should go hungry, or why people should go hungry, when you can actually impact the environment by owning a beehive, right? But also making money from it, and also like saving the environment. So these are some of the initiatives that Bokamoso is running. And through Bokamoso Foods, this is like our packaging, company and processing. So we do different products as well, and we do beverages. Bokamoso. So some of our clients, like former clients, was SAA. We used to do that on board beverages. So I think when like in the food industry, or in the agri industry, the agri industry is very vast. So it's not just like one component. Dipudi or dikhomo. You need to think, the whole value chain, right? So you need to think about where the gaps are. So instead of already, maybe somebody more farming, and then one somebody else spinach, spinach. So I would advise that to do that research. Exactly. So you need to do your research really well, and also focus on like niche products as well, right? You look at, if South Africa is importing, for example, honey, clearly there's a need, like in our country, for us to increase the volumes of honey. So if we're importing like blueberries, clearly there's a need in our country, right, to grow blueberries. So I really encourage people that are interested in agriculture to not just focus on like the tamati, the tapoli, or whatever. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but also you need to focus on you need to focus on agro value adding. You need to focus on return on investment, because at the end of the day, you need to make money. Like that's the bottom line. So one of the services that we also
it's fine. There's a question.
So one of the
there we go. There's a question. Somebody said, Angel Malaika Sileka, or awesome, or how do you juggle through all your businesses?
So
because
Angel, hi. It's tough because
we
like who busy. So one of the things that I've learned, like along the way, like you learn so much about yourself, right? I don't know if you guys have done this test online. It's an Enneagram. So Enneagram, it's more like a personality test.
What number
but it's so accurate. And so on the Enneagram, so I'm a 3. So the 3s are high achievers. 3 would rather do things on their own. They're very driven. So I've had to learn to like delegate, because I realized that when I'm picking up all these things and driving them by myself, I'm actually spreading myself super thin, and at one point I get super overwhelmed. So I've been able to, I actually call myself, or actually there's a title that I was given recently called Rainmaker. So if I come up with an idea or whatever, I make sure that I bring in different teams, right? Different people within my team with different skill set. It's very, very important. If someone is if you have like a socialite like in your team, and then you just relegate them to doing admin, that person is gonna have a hard time really doing the work. So to maximize potentially, as part of your team, is to make sure that you understand the skill set, what they can bring in, and that's what I've had to learn. And so I don't do all of this like on my own. I have amazing people, like I have amazing mentors. I have a team and they understand the vision, and they are part of driving the vision. So I think it would hurt me if someone is just there for the money, right? So part of, obviously the money is part of it, but also someone who takes part in building the vision as well, because it's not about me, but it's about actually building our country sustainably.
Lesego, I like what you said, and if I were to summarize as we come to our interview, I like what you said. I think you spoke about, if I remember well, the principles, yeah, when one listens to your journey. The first thing is exposure. You spoke about how when you were exposed to certain parts, they were able to get you to go the next step. So when you're exposed to certain things, when you're exposed to and it's able to open your mind for, okay, there are possibilities. You spoke about the power of accepting when people offer help. When people want take interest and say, you spoke about that and how it shaped your life. And now you just spoken about the issue around how it's important to look at community. So when you go through an experience, you know, you could have said, my parents passed on, this is where the story ends. You know, but then I like how we look at your journey and you were able to rise and be exposed to other things and end up kohongwe. I like how you've also been able to then share what you have learned to babangwe, and you saying that you have and take them to school, expose them to other things. It's really, really inspiring. And then I also like how you speak about the importance of having teams and connecting with other people based on their strengths. So for instance, if there's somebody who wants to talk about agriculture beyond, because whenever when we speak agriculture, we think but here you are, you're now talking honey. And this evening, we're also giving away, you call it luxury honey. Honey Air 400. It looks amazing.
It is luxury.
It looks amazing. It looks amazing. We're giving away 2 bottles to 2 people, like it. The honey is valued at 400 Rand a gift. So we're giving away to 2 lucky people who came in and asked the questions tonight. Let's see. Kunali, a question. I think, did you answer the question about how does one start co-production?
Oh, yeah, okay. So
Lorato,
I think, like I said,
we want to give that to...
yeah, Lorato, yeah, food production.
Yes.
You know, it's very hard, to be honest, to have all the infrastructure in place. For example, to start a food factory, first of all, you need like a certified food facility, right? Because especially if you're like supplying to like airlines or retailers, they're going to need all these certificates that disadvantage you if you look at a facility. So I would say like start small and start like locally as well. So even if take it to one day to supply Woolworths, right? While you're building your income stream, while you're I'm trying to grow, start small, but don't just aim for Woolworths, and then when Woolworths gives you a no, and then that's the end of your dream. So yeah, so I would say that yeah, I mean, some of the great, you know, like entrepreneur, like food entrepreneurs, a lot of them have started like kitchen selling to like the local communities. Like this story is like KFC. The guy was in KFC, started from his kitchen, Arakisa, to his neighbors and stuff like that. So I think it's all about having patience and learning to accept the notes about it, but not internalizing them as like rejection.
Okay.
And you're gonna fail along the way, and there's so much wisdom in failing. I think we have a hard time, you know, with processing like failure, because we think about you know. So I think use those failure moments as like lessons to be better as well. and start small. You'd be surprised. And also don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help or sell your product. So you'll go far. I promise you, you will go far. But don't let any discouragement deter you away from the bigger vision.
Yeah, Lorato Twanza ba ikutlwetse. Lorato Mokwasa, congratulations, you've just won Bariki Luxury Honey. You will get in contact with Rona Makgarebe so that we
It's called Be Loved.
Be loved. Be loved. Congratulations to Lorato Mokwasa. There's two other comments that I want to read for you before we wrap up. Richard Sileboko says, I am an RTC alumni. So Richard has been through your program, and she says he says he's always inspired by you, your selflessness. I think it's selflessness, Akir, or your selfless and your spirit of Ubuntu is unmeasurable. Richard says, keep shining. And then Queen Maimani Ramotsewa says, nothing can keep a pure intention down. I'm proud of you for living your passion and commitment despite the challenges that you've had. South Africa is richer because of people like you, Womandla. So now to our second, I've got a team Gamo. Let's get the name of the second person who walks away today. Be loved, you said, right? We're almost at the end of our interview. I hope that this was inspiring. I love the fact that we spoke to somebody who has been go a rural village, somebody who has been in a space where she could have been determined and says, look, this is where my story is, or this is where it ends. But then for her to come from Komosha into New York, it's absolutely remarkable. I'm not saying it's everything, but it is big. And she is so amazing, this lady. That she has done. And today we just touched the surface of some of the things that she's done. For those that are joining now, she informed us that they have touched about 100 kids from rural areas. Some are now working lawyer. I mean, to have somebody who's selfless invest is quite remarkable. There was spy. Spy. My team says you are the second winner. Yeah, luxury honey, yeah, beehive. It's in beehive. You're bonang beans. Just a second. Lesego at be loved, not beehives. Kwake 7. That fella. So, Kiketo, you are the honey produced by Bokamoso Foods. That bottle of honey 400. So how we jaga 400 ranta ngwane suka mo kona the whole day. Kutsa kuro ka tsenela we katlele go rela kanyana he. Mare ke honey ntsing yang mona le sego ya 400 rand.
Yeah, so bottle let's say 20 400. So there are it's sunflower honey. It only gets harvested like twice a year. And then blue gum honey. And then we also have acacia honey hape. So those are not like the honeys are every day, like those are like specialty honey that you would get go Herotse and Whole Foods and all these places for like
I'll tell
crazy
you what,
amount.
We also want to sponsor. We have Kima Ari, she's going to make ice cream. We had Pinky Mukoka was one of the other people that joined the call very early. I can first come first serve. So we will give away a third bottle of honey. Bona, who's sweet. Today, who's sweet. How's Malorna Makgarebe? Keep it very nice. So congratulations, Pinky Mukoka. You also have won yourself a bottle of luxury honey, courtesy of Bokamoso foods. I get investment.
Yeah.
Bokamoso foods, Bokamoso investment, there's the child. You're amazing. What would be your closing words to people that are watching tonight?
So thank you. So, hey, wait again. They can actually go to our website. It's gonna go live soon. But they can just send me an inbox if they wanna order, and then we'll get it out to them. So my closing remarks is that anything is possible, and that it's so important that you align yourself. They empower you. Check your cycle. It's not one.
Wow.
Get away, change your circle. It's better if it's only one only lonely, but as long as you are on the path. And the Queen, like one of my mentors, my recent mentors, Queen Ramotseja. She's an amazing coach, also lived Kumafikeng for some time. So really surround yourself. They encourage you even in your darkest times. And know that anything you put your mind to, it's possible, right? So this is one of our right, who was loved by her parents, and then they were taken away, and then she had to navigate life. But I realized that I was not alone. The generosity of people, they surrounded me. You never make it too long, like alone. And so, I mean, from New York, going to London, even doing my master's at the London School of Economics, working in Washington, and all of that, those experiences, at the end of the day, I realized that no one is going to come and build my country. No one is going to solve the issues that our countries, that our country's solving from outside. Us, Rona, people from there, we understand our challenges much better. We understand the issues in our community. So it's only through us that all these issues that we're faced with in South Africa, whether it's unemployment, youth pregnancy, or we need to be the drivers of the change that we want to see. So I'm really grateful for the support and also people who push you, right, to bring out the best in you. So like I said, don't be afraid to reach out. And you never know who's in your networks, right? Would open up the next big door. So you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. Tap on your networks, call people, throw yourself out there. The world is your oyster. You can achieve anything.
Like, living proof. And that's why the Makgarebe story to say, Washington, London. Wa itse ka re utlwa nna ke re mara ka 2020 ke batla go utlwa dionyana tse di monate man le so tshwanetse re tsene mo di-circleng mo re hemang mowa o batho ba ja gane so bikinyana kula one. And again, like I said, from Moscow went to New York to London to Washington, it's a horror brag, but just to say it is possible. Ki yo motho re buile le ena gompieno ki yo motho tswa ko mahikeng o bue bo fry hofa ke re buile mo tlakgameng such Friday. So it's amazing, and thank you so much for your time. We want to wrap up. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, to our winners, Lorato Mukasa, to Pinky Mokokwa, Li Keketo Sepai. Thank you very much, and we want to thank our production team Yarona tonight, headed by Amantle. Amantle is the other person on the session.
Hi, Amantle. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
I was taking down a lot of notes as you were talking, and I'm glad that I was allowed to come onto camera just to close out. And some of the things that I took down was the importance of lifting as you rise and creating what you want to be a part of. And you did just that by establishing Raise the Children. Also, the importance, context is queen. That's what I said, not king, is queen. When you're solving for societal issues, you talked about the kids that you would have passed most thing, and now they're working at really prestigious companies.
You also talked about understanding, but then you made it possible, or you enabled them to be in a space where they can make money or make, you know, a living for their families. We also talked about business in a box 101 and empowering your people and using your influence to actually create impact. And we're talking Bokamoso impact, right? Investment. And then be deliberate about banging on doors and unlocking opportunities for people and making sure that they can trade, grow, and operate at the standard of big businesses. And then you talked about obviously checking your circle, and we checked our circle and we found you, and we're very grateful that you were able to come through for us for the first one.
For the first one, because we said, let's show people okay, man.
Wait, I'm glad it's honestly such a privilege to be part of your circle, Batum. Salona and what you guys are doing, Makgarebe, it's really remarkable. So thank you for it.
Mama,
Thank you. That we need it.
Bona. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you for everyone who was watching. You
No.
want something, Gabe? Are you good?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for creating this platform. And I think to the guys that are viewing right now, I think it would be great to share news about this platform because it's really great. And I think the stories like Northwest, they're not told as much. And like, if you follow the page, there are remarkable women, interviews of women that are from Mafikeng, really impacting the world locally and globally as well. So like the page, follow, spread the news. We are who we are because of that.
Tell me, one last thing, how do people get in contact with Luena? How about to babatla go itse gore Lesego Serolong ke mang? Or ba go kry-a kae?
Yeah, more Twitter handle. Yeah, so Twitter Lesego Serolong, Facebook Lesego Serolong holds up for. And then also more Instagram, ke Lesego Serolong. So you can use all those three major platforms to find me. And also our website, ke www.bokamosofoods.com. And and then Raise the Children, like I said earlier, ke www.raisethechildreninternational.org. If you look at it, you know, you are a professional, young professional, you want to mentor a young person, literally it's like conversation 101, guiding them through life. We also accept the mentors, especially from the Northwest. So if you want to get in touch, just leave a comment on our website, and then
you know, most we're going to come for that one. We've got amazing women. We are bringing them on board. They are coming. We are gonna remember. Thank you so much. Good night. Bye.
Amen. No, thank you. Bless you guys. Bye.
Bye.